Guys, I read this crazy article the other day. Welcome back to the show. Gideon here. I read this crazy article the other day of how Africans, right, specifically I believe from Kenya, are being lured by the Russian government to come work, really to come join the army to fight against Ukraine, but they're being lured by working visas, by being told they're being given working visas, and then when they get there, they're forced into the army to fight in the war. Man, I read that story 2 days ago, and I thought that is crazy. Meanwhile, a few years ago, I saw this guy, another African guy, who was talking about how the Ukrainians were trying to push him into the army to fight against the Russians. And man, the only thing I can say is, man, the depravity of mankind, man. We are so wicked and so selfish and so evil, man. So evil. I remember seeing this, and I remember the Hodge twins, the conservative twins. They talked about this, about the guy who was being asked to fight for the Ukrainian army, and I was so surprised by the sentiments in the comment section, because the people in the comment section were like, "Ah, look at this guy, so ungrateful that he's living in Ukraine and he doesn't want to fight." And I thought to myself, "Are you out of your mind?" Most of the people who were commenting that, if they were in Ukraine at the time, the first thing they would be doing is trying to fly back home to America. Not would they be trying to get in the army or whatnot and fight regardless. I was like, how insensitive. But that's what happens when you pick a position and you're trying to justify everything through a certain lens. So the people in the comments, and maybe inspired by the video that the Hodge twins made, and I love the Hodge twins, so I don't want it to seem as if I'm bashing them, but maybe inspired by the content the Hodge twins made, where we're trying to justify or talk about, to bash illegal immigration, but they were looking. How do I put this? They were looking at the lens of that situation through the problems that they have with illegal immigrants coming in. Listen, you don't have to conflate issues. If you have a problem with illegal immigration and you have a problem with how people are treated in the country, that's one thing and that's valid. But when you start trying to make everything about the same thing, that becomes a problem. But I've said this time and time again. People don't love the truth. They love to justify what they want to see. Every human being is guilty on this, and until you are humble enough to try and learn that you to love the truth instead of loving what you want to be the truth, you will always be like this. And as long as human beings are like this, we cannot have peace and stability, because you, instead of loving the truth or debating to find the truth, you are debating to justify yourself. And this is so common. You see this across political commentary, right? Sometimes we have a problem with something and we may legitimately have a problem with that thing, but even our reasoning for why the thing is wrong, we can go about that in the wrong way, because instead of going about it rationally, we go about it emotionally, and then we can't even justify the points that we make, and this is something that I don't like to see being done. I'm a very conservative person, but even when I see conservative people doing this, I don't like it. If you're going to present an argument, right, present it in a rational way, the same way you expect your opponents or the opposition to present their arguments in a rational way too. Otherwise, you may just come across as looking shallow. Shallow. And to be honest, we have all been guilty of being shallow at one point or the other, but we all can do better. We all can do better. If you're going to present an argument, present it honestly. And if you have a bias, also be honest about your bias, because the reality is that we all have a bias towards one thing or another. So it's not unnatural to have a bias. So listen, I just think we need to be rational about how we do things. And I think humanity is so messed up and so evil and wicked. Imagine you're being lured into a place and you're spending so much money paying for these visas to go to that place, thinking that you're going to work there, and they're trying to get you to go fight in a war. And I bet you that there are people out here on the internet that will try and justify that and be like, why not? Why not? Because their whole lens, the lens through which they look at life, has been manipulated to fit the ideology that they're trying to campaign for. And it's not that the whole ideology they're campaigning for is evil in and of itself, but it's just that it has become their identity instead of just being one thing that they're trying to fight for. Be careful of this. Be careful of this. Let me know what you think. Of course, I'm sure there are people that will agree with this and there's some people that will disagree with it. That's fine. That is just what it is. Hey, If you like the content, hit the subscribe button and leave a like, maybe even share with somebody if you want to. Jesus Christ is King. God bless.